Yes, Darren says basic spells. I never saw him cast any complex spells outside of his own specialization. Does it matter if they're simple spells? Hardrick says you can just use his huge energy to boost them and they'll be just as strong as the more complex spells. That would be just a waste of magical energy, Darren says. There's a reason why more complex version of the basic spells were invented. That's because they're cost effective. Why would Talmac care about cost? Hardrick says. He has plenty of energy to spare. It's not like we have ever seen him run out of energy in a duel before. Hell, as far as I know, his magical regeneration abilities may as well be high enough that he can gain his energy back before he even has a chance to spend it. Darren says, Barry, can you believe this guy? He actually trying to make a case that Azarius would lose in a fight against Talmac. He does have a point though. I mean, Azarius is pretty old. Yeah, I honestly couldn't imagine Azarius ever losing in a fair fight. Yeah, Azarius sounds like the guy because complex spells and all that. Honestly couldn't imagine Azarius ever losing in a fair fight. You honestly couldn't imagine Osiris ever losing in a fair fight. Bah, Hadrick says. Asking Barry is cheating. He's from the western continent. Of course he'd root for Osiris. That's not just true. Dylan says, I come from the southern continent. But if someone were to ask me who would win in a fight between Osiris, the sage of the south, and the sage of the south, I'd still pick Osiris, hands down. Fine, Hadrick says. Okay, I've got another one for you then. But who do you think would win in a duel between Aiden and Araka? Didn't this fight already happen though, I say, during the Silvinter? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Aiden ripped Araka to shreds the last time they fought. Well, from what I've heard, Hardrick says, the last time they fought, it was Aiden and the Fox against Araka. So it was 2-on-1. It was a 2-on-1 fight. Yeah, I say, but you're forgetting that Araka was also fused with some of the Stillwater at the time, so it wasn't a 2-on-1 fight, it was a 2-on-2 fight. That's close enough to be a duel for me. Like I said, Aiden mopped the floor with Araka the last time they fought. Yeah, Araka said, hey, what the hell are you talking about? Nobody mopped the floor with anyone, and Therius doesn't count. He was a weakling, and you can't even compare him with the Golden Fox, let alone Aiden. Yeah, right, I say. If you were such a weakling, then how come you weren't even able to take over his body properly during your awakening? That has nothing to do with power, you idiot, Araka says. Didn't your friend tell you about ethereals? That guy had a overwhelming advantage while we were fighting in his own mind. In a fair fight, I would have annihilated him. And the same goes for A. No, he was an ethereal. Ethereals were those, right? They're like flower, right? Where they can live in their own mind and they're like controlling the body like a puppet. And the same goes for Aiden. In a fair fight of an island, the same goes for it. I say. You say that, but you still lost against him in the Stillwinter. That's because Aiden uses tricks, Araka says. In terms of raw power, I'm way stronger than him. Who cares if you're technically stronger than him, I say. Fighting isn't just about strength. You also need to know how to use it. This is about him being more skilled than me, you moron, Araka says. I'm saying that he's cheating. He isn't using magic the way you're supposed to. What's that supposed to mean? I say. Forget it, Araka says. I'm not going to sit here waste time explaining to you how magic works. Tell you what, why don't you ask Aiden directly what I meant? He's been standing there invisibly right next to you for the past 20 seconds, so I'm sure he doesn't have anything better to do at the time. As soon as Araka is done talking, Aiden dismisses his invisibility spell while wearing his usual polite smile on his face with his eyes closed. You just won't let me have any fun, will you, Araka? Aiden says. Again, Dylan says, ask Aiden, good gods, what will it take for you to stop stalking us? There's no need to be so rude, Aiden says, especially when I came all the way here only to congratulate you on your magnificent performance in the arena. Hardrick says, not looking very convinced. You sure that's the only reason why you came here? Now that you mention it, there was another reason, Aiden says. You see, I couldn't help but notice that the direction you were heading in. What? But notice the direction in which you've been heading since you left the arenas led directly to the castle of Thelius. You wouldn't happen to be going there because the king Gollum gave you some sort of mission, would you? What are you talking about? Darren says. We're only going to the palace to get some papers. Oh, Aiden says, looking a bit surprised. Well then, I just wanted to let you know if the king happened to give you a mission that is in some way tied to the well-being of the citizens of Thelius, you shouldn't really bother to complete it. Why not? Darren says. Because the city of Thelius will no longer be around for much longer. Aiden says, and neither will any of the other cities in Varitia for that matter. Wait, what? Darren says, but he's having trouble continuing his sentence. What are you saying? I'm saying that shortly before the end of this tournament, Aiden says, there will be calamity of such proportion that will be completely eradicate every city in this island at the same time. and you're telling me that you're just going to stand idly by and watch it happen there in Asha. What is wrong with you? Aren't you supposed to be the creator of this continent? Actually, that's a common misconception, because you said it yourself that you're the creator of this continent. Of course, it's gonna cause a misconception. Eden says, while the people of this land call me the creator, the island of Varathia has been around for much longer than my lifespan. The only reason why people started to call me the creator all these years ago was because they wanted someone to replace the old creator, to symbolize the beginning of the new age. They chose me to take this role because I was practically the founder of the new civilization that came after the Stillwater together with the Golden Fox. After the Stillwinter together with the Golden Fox. When I think you might have slightly misunderstood what I said earlier. I will by no means stand idly by while this calamity occurs. In fact, the eradication of these cities will happen as a direct result of my own action. I would actually genuinely just laugh after he says that. Oh, you bastard, Darren says with his eyes full of hatred. I'm not going to let you do this. Why, Darren? Why, Darren? Aiden says, I thought that you, of all people, would have every reason to be happy due to these turns of events. Weren't you the one who told me that as long as you never give up, you can find a way to save everyone? Well, I found a way to save them all from their misery. I assure you that a quick death would be much better fate than most of these people deserve. As for the rest, oh, shut up, I interrupt Aiden. Pardon, Aiden says, I've had it with your crap, I say. You're acting like a spoiled child throwing a tantrum. Whenever something doesn't go your way, you break all the toys and make a mess of the playground, leaving the adults to clean up after you. Did the same thing with Olmnar. Is blowing up a city a standard solution to everything? Every one of my friends, including Darren, are looking way too shocked at my sudden outburst to be able to say anything. They're all just staring at me in disbelief. Ian is also looking directly at me with his eyes closed, but his smile is now gone from his face. What are you getting at? Ian asked me calmly. I say, that there is no way you can just build an entire civilization like that almost by yourself, and then in a span of only a few hundred years, you simply stop caring about what happens to all these peoples and you kill them off like it's nothing. This is just you refusing to admit your mistakes. You failed. You had all the power in the world, but you still couldn't achieve what you wanted. And instead of manning up and trying to fix things, what do? You just sweep it all under the rug as if none of this was ever your fault, and then you decide to end everything by your own hand, as if that would somehow make it better. Stop this already. You're only making a fool of yourself. It's kind of like a, programmer. They like write a code and like they can't fix it. They're like, fuck this, I'm just gonna delete the code, I'm gonna try again. But except for the fact it's not lines of code, it's like actual people here. I've heard just enough of this, Aiden says in a dismissive tone. You speak without even knowing the situation in which the other cities are in. Do you think the slavery in the arenas is a real problem in Varathia? You have no idea what's going on in the other kingdoms. The levels to which some of these people have stooped are much lower than what you could ever imagine. So what, I say? Aren't you the leader? Isn't it the leader's job to make sure that his people don't go on the wrong path? How did you even manage to let it come to this? Did you just leave them all to organize themselves without even the least bit of intervention? Hell, even I would have done a better job at keeping things under control, and I know nothing about politics. You're saying you could have prevented this if you had my powers, Aiden says. You, who could not deliver a simple message. No, I say. I'm saying that I could have prevented this even if I had no powers at all. You, on the other hand, had all the power you needed. Well, all you managed to do was make things worse. What was the deal with Omnan anyway? You think that by destroying that city, the fox would forgive you? Is that what you thought? Don't make me laugh. If you were seeking forgiveness, then how about you start by fixing everything you broke and by not being such a damn coward? Once I finish my sentence, Aiden frowns, and all of a sudden everything around me freezes, just like the time when I first fought the dragon. Then he starts slowly walking towards me, while everyone except the two of us are frozen in place. He's looking pretty pissed off. Try to break the time freezing spell by stepping out of his range. Stand my ground and do not avert my eyes from Aiden. There's no point in backing out, he can just kill you. So let's stand my ground, do not avert my eyes from Aiden. Decide to stand my ground and to look Aiden straight in the eyes as he approaches me. When he gets about a foot away from me, he stops and he opens his eyes, looking at me with a... Oh, he opened his eyes? He opens his eyes, looking at me with a very dark expression in his face. You know, Aiden says, it has been a very long while since someone's made me this angry. I'll have to hand it to you, Barry. You have a very unique talent at pushing people's button. Tell me, do you enjoy risking death with every opportunity? You really want to die that much? You're not going to kill me, I say. Why not? Aiden says, because deep down you know I'm right, I say. Everything I said about you was true. Otherwise you wouldn't have gotten so pissed off about it. Killing me now would only serve to prove my point, and that's the last thing you want. You really do like playing with fire, don't you? Aiden says. I think what makes me the angriest is the fact that you actually believe what you're saying. You actually believe that you would have been able to accomplish the impossible, to change human nature without even having access to any of my powers. Just what exactly is it that you're basing these claims on, I wonder?